Greetings to the YouTube family. It's your boy, Demus, the Yardman, aka Young Kim the First. So, I am pleased to report that Jermall Charlo has been acquitted of his charges. He was charged for allegedly assaulting a family member, and since then he has been acquitted of all charges and proven innocent, and I'm so happy. So he continues to be in the race for the Saul Canelo Alvarez sweepstakes, once in a lifetime opportunity to fight the face of boxing. Now, before the charges were placed on Charlo, the PBC and Al Heyman had offered Canelo a one fight $50 million deal to fight Charlo on May 7th, Cinco de Mayo weekend. Since then, and since the allegations were proven not to be justification for arrest at the very least, the PBC and Al Heyman have doubled down on the offer. So they have now offered Canelo a two-fight deal for $100 million. With the first one being against Jermall Charlo on May 7th, the Cinco de Mayo weekend, and then on Mexican Independence weekend in the middle of September, he would be fighting David El Bandero Rojo Benavidez. And I'm loving it. I love that. We've all wanted him to fight Benavidez for the longest of whiles, and it never came to fruition. When David Benavidez was the champion at super middleweight, he was calling out Canelo to come and try and take his belt. It never happened. He lost the belt to the scales because he didn't make weight. He was forced to vacate the belt, and then all of a sudden Canelo petitions to fight Yildirim to become the champion. So there was a lot of speculation there that he was avoiding David Benavidez. With that being said, this is what's on the table for him now. So we know he has that $100 million deal with PBC. He has not signed. He also has an $80 million deal on the table for a two-fight deal with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing to fight Dimitri Bivol on May 7th, Cinco de Mayo weekend, and then have a trilogy with his rival Gennady Triple G Golovkin. Now, we have to look at the pros and cons of both. Now, I personally think the bigger fights, well, I don't think, I know for a fact the bigger fights would be against Jermall Charlo and David Benavidez. Firstly, of all the opponents, Jermall Charlo has the biggest profile out of all of them, without question. In terms of fight viewership, in terms of social media following, in terms of popularity, Jermall Charlo ticks all boxes. And then to top it off, David Benavidez, undefeated fighter, all-Mexican showdown, for Mexican Independence weekend. It just doesn't get much better than that. In terms of fight hype. Now, we know that Canelo is chasing greatness, and in my previous videos, I had mentioned that Canelo is looking to become two-time undisputed champion. He just did it in super middleweight, and now with Joe Smith Jr. set to unify the titles, it would be a shorter path for him to become undisputed. He just beats Bivol, and then he would go and fight Joe Smith Jr. Not saying that he beats Bivol. I think that's a tough fight for him. I do think Canelo wins, but that's a tough fight. That's not no walkover. It's definitely not no walkover. Now, the issue with that is the two-fight deal is contingent of him fighting Triple G in September. And I don't think Canelo wants it. And I don't think the fans want it. Triple G is past his prime. he did give a good account for himself in the two previous matches with Canelo, but he's been inactive. Canelo's gotten better since then. Triple G's gotten older, and it's just the fact of the matter is he doesn't have to fight Triple G in September because Triple G will always be there. Triple G only hasn't retired now because he's holding on to the Canelo sweepstakes. He wants his chance. He wants his shot, but I don't see how it's feasible for him to land that. And I don't know why the zone and matchroom with Eddie Hearn is chasing that. It boggles me. But who am I to question Eddie Hearn? Because he's a genius in terms of promotion and building up these fighters. We saw what he did with AJ. Brilliant what he did with Anthony Joshua's career. Took him to heights that I don't believe any other fighter would have been able to do. Not even the great Al Heyman with the Premier Boxing Championship here. So with that being said, both deals are good. I prefer the Jermall Charlo and the David Benavidez route. It makes more sense in terms of the money, but Canelo doesn't need money. He's already rich. He's looking for legacy. So we can't be mad at him for taking the Bivol and Triple G fight. I expect him to try and negotiate a deal where he could get the Bivol fight and then skip Triple G and go straight to the winner of the Joe Smith Jr. fight and make it undisputed. That would make more sense for his legacy because it's about building his brand now. It's about who Canelo is going to be after the sport of boxing, what he'll be remembered for, Which one is more difficult? I think his toughest fight is Benavidez. I do think his toughest fight is Benavidez. But the only thing about Benavidez is Benavidez gets hit way too much, and Canelo isn't somebody you want to be touched by. That Mexican beef is serious. That boy Canelo, when he touches people, when he touches you, you're in trouble. We've seen Benavidez drop before, and it's gonna be interesting. I like the fight with Charlo. I mean, I've said how that fight would play out. It's beautiful, because Canelo won't have to move around. We know footwork troubles Canelo. Jermall isn't going to be moving around. He's gonna stay in the pocket, pick off shots, and try counter, parry and move. He doesn't really punch with you, but he'll parry and hit. Stay in the pocket. It's gonna be an action-packed fight. David Benavidez, he's not parrying. He's keeping that high guard. He's walking you down and he's hooking, getting shots on the inside. It's gonna be nice. The Bivol, my only issue with the Bivol fight now is Bivol is very one-dimensional. It's the same 1-2 over and over and over and over and over and over again. On second thought, I don't think David Benavidez is the toughest fight. I think Dimitrov Bivol would be the toughest fight. And it's not because he's the most skilled, because I actually think Benavidez and Charlo are more skilled, but it's the style, Bivol will use his feet and move around. So we've seen that style gives Canelo problems. I know he knocked Amir Khan into oblivion, but the first 4 rounds, Amir Khan was comfortably outboxing Canelo. Comfortably outboxing him. Austin Trout, who I thought actually won in the Canelo fight. But I'm not mad at the decision for them giving Canelo because it was close. Some of the rounds could have gone either way, but I personally gave that one to Austin Trout. Movement killed him. Floyd, movement killed him. Everybody that gave him trouble, Billy Joe Saunders gave him trouble. It was the movement. Caleb Plant was giving him trouble. It was the jab had a lot to do with it, but the movement, and we saw Canelo getting frustrated, waving him on to invite the action. So we're gonna see what Canelo does. He has time on his hands. He knows for a fact he's fighting on May 7th, so he could draw this out as long as he wants to get people mentally frustrated. We know Charlo already started camp, but he may be half in it because we don't even know that nothing's been signed. Well, Jermall has signed his portion, but Canelo has signed nothing. As a matter of fact, he went onto Twitter today before it was deleted, but I actually caught it before it was deleted, saying believe nothing, because there was reports that he had rejected the $100 million offer and was looking to sign the 2 fight deal with the Zone. I believe it was for $80 million, as I aforementioned. So we're gonna see. And listen, I can't reiterate this enough. A lot of people say that boxing is in a terrible state. That's not true. That's not true. People are just holding on to it's the same like the Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's the greatest. Michael Jordan is great. But we need to appreciate the time when LeBron is great too. We don't have Muhammad Ali. We have Tyson Fury. And it's just pick your poison. Halle Berry, hallelujah. Boxing's in a great place. We have a chance this year to see 4 undisputed champions. 4. All it takes is Canelo to beat Bivol and then fight the winner of Joe Smith Jr. That's definitely possible. That's 1. That's for light heavyweight. We have the welterweights now with your Dennis Ugas and Earl Spence about to unify in April. And then the winner of that gets Terence Crawford. That's 2 right there. Then we have Devin, the Dream, Haney, the lightweight champion, the WBC lightweight champion, and God knows what George Kambosos Jr. is doing, but he holds the WBO, WBA, and the IBF major champions. So boxing's in a great place. I'm loving what I'm seeing. Until next time, you're listening to your boy Demus the Yardman, aka Young Kim the First. Please like, share, subscribe, even dislike, positive, negative feedback. I'm looking for it all. Peace, love, and blessings in abundance to you all. God bless.